wonderful reading. And now it is my honor to introduce Reverend Judy Andersen, who will be speaking on the power of intention. Reverend Judy.
Hey everybody, I'm turned on. And what a lovely way to start, with a laugh or a giggle. But let's begin with a spiritual mind treatment and a smile on our face. Today, I am in love with life. Today, life walks and talks and smiles and sings through me and as me. That life is God. That life is the only life there is. And it is our choice today to live from that fully, laughingly, lovingly, delightfully, full of light. The word delightful means of, light, filled, or full. And so today I simply know that each one of us are open to be delightful and delighted. That we can smile and laugh and sing, whether we can carry a tune or not. For in God's world, all is well. We are in God's world. We are of God, in God, expressing as God. And as I affirm this, I know that truly all is well, and all shall be well, and so it is. This week, Reverend Valentine had been going to speak, and I just took her title of The Power of Intention, and kind of got around to where I thought maybe it's not the power of intention, but the question of intention. So where is your intention? And where is the power behind it? And I didn't have any ink in my printer this morning, so I couldn't print it, so you'll have to bear with me. I have to pull it up in here. In pages, okay. The power of intention, or the question of intention, or the retention of the intention. Isn't that a big one? You know what? We were all here, I think it was the second week of January, for the burning bowl ceremony, and we wrote a letter of intention to ourselves. And you know what? I can remember a little of what I put in that letter, but I put it on paper and then kind of forgot about it. So an intention without some action behind it, guess what? Not much results. I've been talking to one person today who has had some fantastic results this year. And most of us have had in our own ways. But the idea of setting an intention and using the setting of the intention merely as a starting point and thinking about it like planting sweet pea seeds. It's getting to that time of year. We could be planting seeds of any kind. And you plant those seeds and something starts to happen in them. But guess what? If they don't get water, if we have a dry spell, if they don't get water, and maybe they don't get a little bit of love or attention, what happens to them? Or if they're just left lying on the ground instead of being buried in the ground, what happens to them? They don't progress from there. And I have to say that's what has happened to the intentions I put on paper. that second week in January. So I'm looking forward to getting my letter back to see what I wrote on that and see how much I've been following up or whether I haven't been. And if not, then I need to take another look at it. So setting an intention or creating an intention or even writing an intention in our journaling is only a thought until we do something about it. I've got, as always, some interesting quotes. John Burroughs says, "The smallest deed is better than the greatest intention." Yeah. On the other hand, a person who uses a name just as FZA, probably pronounced za, something like that, says, "I don't have any control over what actually happens. Except for that, I have full control over my will for myself, my intention, and why I'm here. That's all that matters." So let's take a look at what we're doing. We can set an intention right now, and I know at least one of mine that I know that on my intentions I wrote that I choose healthy ways of life, healthy ways of exercise and food, whatever. Well, somehow the belly keeps expanding, and I don't know that I've been doing the exercise I should be doing. So I need to reset my intentions. You know what? You don't need to blame yourself if you're in the same position I'm in. All you have to do is reset your intention. You know, when the curl comes out of your hair, how do you get it back? If you don't have curly hair, you set it again, right? Gentlemen probably accepted. I don't expect any of you curl your hair on a regular basis. But it's a matter of needing to know that you can, maybe in meditation, you might come up with an idea and set an intention from that, create an intention. But when you plant seeds and they start sprouting, guess what comes up as well as the sweet peas? Probably some chickweed and other forms of weeds. So you need to do pardon me, I'm experiencing a cramp in my ribs. That's not fun. But you get weeds growing up along with your flowers. So you need to do some weeding. When you set an intention, and maybe you think about it every day, but maybe as you're thinking your thought of, I eat a healthy diet. I am guided and directed to the foods that are good for me. And then somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I've got 2 chocolate bars. You want one?" What is your choice? Well, what is your weakness that you're likely to let attract you away from what your intention had been? So the trick about an intention and having it come into fruition is probably the same as when you plant your sweet peas. You have to weed out the things that might strangle that intention. And you have to look at those sweet pea sprouts every day and keep them in mind, knowing they're going to grow into beautiful blossoms. We need to keep looking at them. Inspect your intention daily. The idea is to keep our attention focused on the intention and do away with everything that comes up. But I don't feel like exercising today. I didn't get a very good sleep. Maybe I don't need to go on the treadmill today or my under-desk elliptical or whatever you use. Maybe I can skip today. And then tomorrow it becomes, oh, well, I don't think I'll bother today, and the next day, and the next day. You know, last year I was on my under-desk elliptical for anywhere between 15 minutes and a half hour for virtually every day for maybe 2 or 3 months at least. And you know what happened? I got in better shape. My legs got stronger, and my legs being stronger helped my back. And yeah, whatever. If we want the results from our intention, if we want to pick sweet peas, to smell them, they smell so good. To have a bouquet in our house, we have to make sure that they stay healthy. We have to make sure that they grow. So are you creating or coming up with some intentions every day, but then you're not nourishing them? Guess what happens? It's like me when I pushed the elliptical back away from my recliner and I reclined instead. My inclination was to recline, but that hadn't been my intention. So maybe, for me, I don't know about you, you might be really good about keeping your intentions in place, but especially since I retired, when I was only 79, really, I retired from being a pastor in this center. But I'm still a minister, just not a pastor. But I retired, and I found out how easy it is to do nothing. I mean, granted, the first 6-7 months of that, I was going through cancer treatments. But that's something I wanted to talk to you about, actually. How often do you hear people about, well, he battled cancer, his fight with cancer? I hate hearing that. You know what, my journey through cancer from diagnosis in March of 2019 until I finished my treatment in the middle of January of 2020 was I surf the experience. You know what you battle, what happens? You give it more strength. So if you know anyone who is in that position right now, can you think of helping them ride it rather than fight it? Takes a lot less energy. And you know, my biggest thing as I went through that experience, it wasn't all fun. After 3 chemo treatments, my face was just a mask of blisters and sores, so they had to quit the chemo. But you know, through every part of that experience, through the whole of the treatments and trekking up to Edmonton for radiation treatments for 5 days at a time for 5.5 weeks, plus my nurse sister-in-law, who I stayed with and who trekked me in and out to the Cross Cancer Institute every day, 5 days at a time. I knew, and those of you who are on Facebook with me know, that I proclaimed that what I rested on while I was surfing the experience was God is at the center of it all. And that's the only explanation I can give for why I came through it. But yeah, I felt really awful doing chemo. And I was glad when they didn't do the last 3 sessions. But it was never terrible. And part of that was my dear Norris, who is now in his 91st year and is failing. But he would, when I felt I couldn't eat, he would run down to Dairy Queen and bring me back a milkshake, whether he felt like doing that or not. But he was so supportive. And this is what we need in our lives, is to be supportive and to support others. So any of us who have friends or family who are in that situation, can you teach them to surf? Gentle waves, not the North 40. But can you help them learn to surf, to ride it rather than fighting? Encourage them not to waste their energy, but to set their intention on riding it easily until their experience is complete. For me, it is now, well, like I say, I'm in my 6th year of being just fine, thank you kindly. And my dear Ruth, who we have adopted each other as sisters. She and I, just a month after my last radiation treatment, we did a trip to Hawaii together. That was delightful. And we set an intention that it would be delightful, right? Great times. But just that we can make our intentions gentle. They don't have to be a battle. That's what who likes a fight? Nobody. So why do we have to look at life as a battle, or any situation as a battle or a fight? Can we take a deep breath and say, doesn't look very sweet right now, but I know God is at the center of it all. God is at the center of it all. All is well, and all shall be well. Do you know that was a man called Julian of, not Norwich, but Nor something or other, that is from several hundred years ago said that. All is well, and all shall be well. What a wonderful thing to think about when you're in the midst of setting an intention or trying to carry it out. And if something jumps up at you and wants to bite you, calm down, all is well, and all shall be well. I thank Julian of Nor whatever it is for saying that. And you've probably seen me use it once in a while on Facebook or in one of my morning quotations. But anyway, Ernest Holmes, we always have to include Ernest in our Sunday mornings. Ernest says, life is a mirror and will reflect back to us whatever we think into it. Life is a mirror and will reflect back to us our intention. Or it'll reflect back to us that we think life is a battle, or that the dealing with a diagnosis is a battle or a fight. Guess what? It'll reflect that back to us. And if we decide that it is surfing or riding a wave instead, that gets reflected back to us. You see how important language is, and the language that is strong in our own minds. How strong is it if we say, this is going to be 6 months or a year of hell going through all of these procedures? Guess what? It gets to be hell. And many of us, one of my dearest friends, has had a scare recently that turned out to be just fine, thank you kindly. But how much hell do we put ourselves through before we know that truly God is at the center of it all, and we relax and let it be. And it's interesting when we stop and think about our intentions. This morning, beginning the meditation, I had this urge to do something I haven't done probably in 2-3 years, maybe. I started the meditation with an Om, and I used to be really good at that and had really a long breath for it. Today I didn't know if I had that breath or not, but guess what? It worked, right? Those who were here, it Om on, and it felt so good. So an intention, when I said, I think I'm going to try this today, I've set an intention. And all of the power of the universe, and those who were in the room with me, backed that up and gave me the breath. Even if yesterday I was coughing every few minutes. Even if yesterday friends were wondering if I'd be able to get through a talk without coughing a lot. Guess what? The universe backs us up when we've set an intention, whether it's a pretty intention or an ugly one. If you say this is going to be a hell of a day, guess what? What do you get to experience? If you say, this is a beautiful day, I'm going to enjoy it. And you go about carrying out your intentions for that day, not as a battle, but as a simple process. Can we do that? This is why I kind of scrambled my title. It's not just the power of intention. There's so much more because we have to put the power into it. But the intention itself, creating an intention and then keeping it in mind, we have to give it the power by starting. There's what the quotations actually was on our head office website that says, "Today is a good day to begin." How does that sound? When you create an intention, you get up in the morning with the idea in your mind that today I'm going to dig in my flower bed a little bit. And you carry it out by putting on your jeans and a shirt that you don't mind if it gets a bit of mud on it or whatever, and you go out there, get your tools out of the gardening shed and start digging some dirt. You set the intention, and then you start putting some action into it. You know what Jesus said in the book of James, chapter 2, I think it was verse 26, faith without works is dead. Intention without works is dead. So we get it. We've got to create the intentions, but we have to put the power into it by following it up and by not forgetting about it, like I did with the letter I wrote to myself. I thought, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to start doing this tomorrow. That's the key. I didn't say I'm going to start doing this today. I left myself free to eat a hamburger or 3 ice cream cones or whatever for that day because I wasn't going to start until tomorrow. But tomorrow kept being another tomorrow. So we create an intention and we give ourselves reminders and we put some substance into the intention by maybe outlining our in a diary, whatever, we write out some steps we might take to bring it into effect, to bring it into reality, into experience. We say that all of the power of the universe acts on our intention. I felt that all of the power of the universe acted on my own this morning when I didn't have a clue whether or not I could do it effectively. That's what we have to know. You have to know that it's there for you. And it doesn't mean that you have to have prayed every day last week or it won't work for you. If you decide to do it today, it will. It doesn't pick and choose who it's going to respond to. If you call on it, even without having had a thought of God or the universal power in the past 50 years, and you claim it today, guess what? It'll work for you. It's really simple. Doesn't play favorites. It doesn't respond first to those who read a chapter in a good book today or yesterday or the day before. You don't have to have done anything extra. All you have to do is claim your own power, because it's not something you have to beg for or bargain for. It is already yours simply because you are. And so if you have, if you have a whistle that you carry, if you're a woman who's working night shifts in a seedy bar or something, I'm going out there a ways, but you might carry a whistle if you have to walk through a questionable area of a city to get home at night. And that whistle might ride in your pocket for 3 years and 6 months. but the moment that you need it, it's going to work, right? You blow on it, it's going to make a noise. Well, this is the presence of what we call God or universal mind or spirit within us. It's still going to work, even if you haven't used it for the last 60 years. It's still there. It's still part of who you are. One of the things Ernest Holmes says is, God is I am. And let me get this straightened out in my head. I've got a quotation I'm trying to remember. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is good. That life is my life now. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is good. That life is my life now. So think of that. Think of that little ditty. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. Because if God is all there is, guess what? You're part of that all that is. And not a little fraction of it, not a grain of sand on the beach, but the entire body of sand, or the entire ocean, not just a wave on the ocean, but the wave as the ocean. That is what you are in God and of God, of this incredible power that can create your own even when you don't know whether you can do it or not. Does that make some sense? So God can't work for me because I haven't paid any attention to God for the last umpteen years. Big deal. God doesn't care. The power that God is doesn't care, because the power that God is you. It's already in you. So setting the intention and backing it up with all the power of the universe means you can't go wrong. It means that which you put your attention on, without digging it up and killing it, has to unfold in your experience. You set the intention, you keep your focus on the intention, and you pull out the weeds of negative thoughts, and you let it unfold in divine right ways, in perfect right order, for your highest and greatest good. Does that sound good? It sounds good to me too. And so, I know there's something else I wanted to say, or more that was in what I planned, but I'll just take a quick look. Well, I guess one thing, the trick is to keep moving in the direction we want to go. So you set your intention and you keep moving in that direction. That's pretty simple. And remember that today is a good day to start. If I wrote that letter on that Sunday in January, that would have been a really good day to start, wouldn't it? Well, you know what? I think I'm going to wrap it up with this affirmation. I keep my attention on my intention. Would you like to say that back with me? I'll say it once more, and then we'll say it together. I keep my attention on my intention. I keep my attention on my intention. And next, today is a good day to start. Today is a good day to start. Thank you, and so it is.